Well, let's talk about the new king, and it'll take me. It's like when when the new year you sign your new checks. Are you saying 2022 or 2023? Except for it's 96 years of saying queen, so now we say king again. And this isn't the day to be petty or political.
No.
I hope he rises to the occasion.
Look, I think he comes in on a tremendous wave of goodwill. Normally, when you get a person coming into an office, whether it's a new prime minister or president or monarch, whatever it is, people are disposed, as they should be, to hope for the best, give him or her a chance, and just hope it goes well. And I think he will benefit from that. Like, I think he'll be, for what my 2 cents are worth, I think he'll be fine as long as he remembers that he is now representing everyone and not just giving his own opinions. If he doesn't moderate the sharpness of some of his opinions expressed quite reasonably in the sense that he had every right to it when he was the Prince of Wales, particularly in areas of environment and so on, when people are suffering terribly from increasing prices of gasoline and home fuel and so on. If he plays it carefully and diplomatically in that area, I think he'll be fine. He'll be very conscientious. He'll work hard. He's a very agreeable personality. He's an intelligent man. I think it'll be fine. But I just hope he doesn't backslide and forget himself and say things that are bound to offend at least half the people.
Yeah. And fair enough. I mean, he's had to wait a while. And so, as you say, it's understandable for a man to have opinions about things. And in some quarters, having the conventional opinion on global warming or whatever he's talking about, it almost seems apolitical, although it's not. It's never apolitical.
No, but look, he's been telling us for 30 years that we had 10 years of the world, Venice would be underwater. He said a lot of harebrained things, but so did a lot of people. It doesn't matter as long as he doesn't repeat them now.
Right. I hope you're right. And I think you're right. If he is no longer, well, I'm a prince, but if he's a king for everyone, then hopefully he'll leave that behind him. And how about the generation behind him? I understand that William will be the new Prince of Wales. I understand.
I think he's now, as of today, I think he's the Duke of Cornwall. But the Prince of Wales, it's a formal investiture in deference to the Welsh, But I think that can't be far off.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? He gives me a little bit of hope too.
Yeah, well, he seems to be. Look, I don't know. I've never met him, but he seems to be a good, reasonable, nice guy. You know? I mean, you don't need Disraeli or Churchill or Thatcher as the monarch. You need someone like the late Queen or George VI.
Well, speaking of, Disraeli was the prime minister, of course. There is a new prime minister in the UK who I think was the 15th prime minister to serve under.
That is right, but she also knew a number of the previous ones. She knew Mr. Attlee, who was leader of the opposition when she became Queen. She knew Mr. Chamberlain. She knew Mr. Baldwin. So yes, the 15th while she was Queen.
Do you know anything about Liz Truss? I don't know much about her.
Yes, I do, and I had dinner with her a few years ago. Look, I think she's off to a brilliant start. She's stylishly. She's quite different from what we've seen. She's got, the British are quite perceptive in matters of socioeconomic origin, and she's got an accent that is a lower socioeconomic echelon of the middle class than Mrs. Thatcher's, Lady Thatcher's. She's got a bit of a working class accent. She went to a state school, but to Oxford University. She has slightly colorful romantic history, not scandalous, but colorful, and the people like that. And I think she's very politically astute. I mean, she's only in her 40s. She's in that great office. And she stood for the leadership of her party. First of all, she did not double-cross Boris, which puts her in a minority in the former government, and is a great credit to her.
And maybe one of the reasons she won, by the way.
Could well be. And secondly, she ran on a straight Thatcher platform. Even before she was invested by the late Queen with the seals of office, she rolled back the anti-fracking rules.
Which shows
one of Boris's few real failings in policy terms, I think, was he went full metal jacket for the more draconian version of the Green Terror, and she's saying we're not having any of that.
That was hard to do, or it looked hard to do because all the polite people the fancy people were against it. But when you've got the kind of energy prices skyrocketing there, she knew where the real people were.
Yeah. And
that was a test.
It's much worse there than it is here.
Oh, by far. In a way, it reminded me of that key moment for Reagan when he said to the air traffic controllers who went on a wildcat illegal strike, he said, "You go back to work, or I'm going to bring in the military air traffic." And they said, "Oh, he's going to blink." No, he didn't. He sacked them all, and
then he said, "I didn't fire them; they quit."
Yeah, and that moment was a test. And even I understood later, I think it was in John O'Sullivan's book, that matter was perceived by the Soviets. Oh, we have a different man on our hands than Jimmy Carter. It wasn't just about air traffic control. It was, does he mean what he says? And when Liz Truss, one of her very first things, says, "I'm going to unban fracking," which was like an untouchable third rail of environmentalism, that says the woman is not to be trifled with.
Oh, yeah.
Very interesting.
No, and she's capping the gasoline bill too, the cost of a tank of petrol, as they call it, and that can be hazardous. You can end up having the taxpayers pay quite a bill for that. Yeah. But I mean, she's doing what needs to be done, I think. And again, I think we all wish an incoming prime minister in any country best of luck.
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday, I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.